Yo, it's Zach Bradshaw, the Greensboro SEO Pro, back once again to brag about our SEO. So in this video, I'm going to go over this Anytime Bail Bonds case study. It's a pretty good one. Anytime Bail Bonds is, in my opinion, the best bail bondsman probably across North Carolina, period. Basically just because she's so sweet, the lady who does it. It's actually my friend's mother, Aida Ortega, as you see right there. And again, she's just super sweet. You can look at their reviews online, and pretty much they've been the best bail bondsman since, or bail bondswoman since they started business. But SEO takes some money. So what we're trying to do here is get them to the first page of Google for Greensboro bail bonds, Greensboro bail bondsman, get my friend out of jail in Greensboro, or whatever people search for. Then we needed to create like a real brand for them so that they can build it, potentially across the entire state, and then maybe nationally. And obviously that is part of this foundation, lay the foundations for Anytime to take over search engines statewide. So ranking in Charlotte or Raleigh, where there's more people, will provide more calls than just ranking in Greensboro alone. So what we had to do for this was create an original logo, press kit, branding information like a tagline, things like that. And then we needed to create a modern website built for SEO and conversions. They already had a website that was free that I made for them pretty much when they just started, but they needed a real one in order to rank. So then the last thing is basically fortify and really create from scratch their digital footprint, their social signals, their directory listings online, and some other off-page factors that help, with your search ranking. So starting into the campaign timeline here, we got their website launch about February, the beginning of February 2018. Maybe it was the end of January, but we literally went out to build the prettiest bail bond site online. I think we did so. We looked at Las Vegas and New York and LA and places that have more competitive bail bondsmen, but we built the best bail bond site. But it didn't take much. So this is the best bail bond site we could find online, period. Not even close. But that's, again, it's not saying much. This was a clear win for us, where we saw like, oh yeah, we can obviously beat all these other bail bond sites that don't have anything like what you're seeing here. So that was one of the main foundations of this, but it was not the whole thing. In order to rank locally, one of the most important things is local citations, and you need an address for that. And they didn't have an address when we first started, and they did the smart thing, took their time, waited, got a good address for a good price. And it's a real address, not a virtual office or anything like that. And it took some time to do that, but it meant that we had to wait before we could really attack the second part of their campaign. They got up to 30 calls in March and June, but not what we were really looking for. This is basically just them doing the Google dance a little bit, Google knowing that their site's really good, wanting to test them a couple times, but not getting a significant enough impact to keep them high without these other signals that you need. So at the end of September, they got their site, they got an address. We updated their address on their website. Immediately, Google responded by giving them 68 calls. This was, again, just a sort of testing period of what we refer to as the Google dance. And then we were able to do the first part of our citations, but not go through the entire process, because it's like a 100-hour ordeal when you're doing local business citations. 200 or 300 hours, depending on what it is. There's like a 100-hour ordeal, but we just needed some time to schedule it. So we did the first part of it. Most SEO companies stop at this or don't even do this as well as we did it. And they already started seeing results through the end of quarter three, or through the end of quarter four, I should say. It really went up to, I think, 156, but I took this screenshot a couple of days before the quarter was over. Maybe it was the 30th or the 29th or something like that. But you see that they got 153 calls in the last quarter of 2018, and 30 people visit their website, 3 requested directions. You can see in bail bonds, the skew is people call. They're not visiting your website, they're not requesting directions, they're just going to call you because it's kind of like almost an emergency service, like, oh my gosh, my son is in jail, let me call right now and see what I need to do to get him out of jail. So once we got that done, this bumped up, but now we are starting in this part right here. I'm doing this video in the middle of the month here, and we've already started on this part of the first touch. Will be done probably the end of next week or so. And it's one of these things where we're doing a lot of back and forth with different directories and things like that. And once this gets done, because we already did the baby version of it that most SEO companies do, and we already saw this big jump where they're already on the first page. And things like that, I'm expecting this as top 5 or potentially top 3 material. Now, just coming down here to the project status, looking at some of the stats that we recorded in here, I haven't changed these estimated revenue things in here yet. I should, because I actually did just get this number the other day, but I haven't come in here and change it. You can see throughout 2018 they got 331 calls, but then once we got the citations done, quarter 4 was at 153, and if you want to add September, that was another 68. So this, you're looking at, I think, what, 212 or something like, no, 211 or 221, something like that. I don't feel like stressing out about the math there, but you see how many more per month it is, at least 50 a month, potentially close to 55 a month calls compared to throughout the whole year, which is looking much more like 30 a month. So they're already number 5, might be number 3 today for Greensboro Bail Bondsman in Google Maps. They're already shown up for almost 400 different search terms, and some of those are outside of Greensboro. They've shown up in Charlotte and Raleigh already a couple of times. And just to go a little bit further into some of their stats, you can see the curve here. It looks like a nice, looks like the S&P 500 over maybe the last 3 years or so. But you see that their impressions, that's what this is showing right now, is steadily climbing. They had a spike close to 100 when Google wanted to show them a lot when they first, when we first launched our site and things like that. This is Google kind of doing the Google dance, testing them out. See, they tested them again here, almost got to 200 impressions on this day, and then once we got these citations done, they've steadily been increasing once again. And this impressions is how many times that they're shown up for searches. So since September, we've had 1, 2, 4 days over, and it's always 3 or 4 days behind Google Search Console, but so there could be another couple of days in here, and you see that it's spiking right now. But we've already had 4 200 impression days, and we had never gotten that for the first part of the year. So you can see, similar to some of these other curves, the average position is steadily, kind of doing like a logarithmic, reaching towards the heights here. And then just to declutter things, looking at the total clicks, you can see that towards the end of the year, it's bumped up a lot more. This gap right here was when Greensboro was snowed in, or I bet this would have been a time when there was some more bails would have been needed during that period. That's a little bit of the analytics. In the case of bail bonds, people don't really go to your site. They generally call you from Google Maps. So I just wanted to run through some of these stats that are from Google's Insights report. So this is for February. 5 people called, a couple of people visited the website. That could have even been us doing some tests, because this is basically like when somebody pushes on their phone to call, I think it registers in Google. I doubt that it's perfectly accurate stats that they're getting it every time. They're not AT&T or whatever. They're not offering phone service yet. I should have said Verizon because AT&T is dying. But anyway, you see the impressions, you see the calls. Again, this is Google Dance. First, they're like, ooh, let's test them out. This was that first month spike that you saw in impressions. Or no, I guess that's still not even a big amount of impressions. Let me just go through this instead of being a know-it-all. 31 calls in February. Again, this is performance report for April, shows the oh no, I'm sorry. So March was 31. Want to make sure I'm accurate here. April was 7 calls. Jump back down, 3 calls for May. 32 for June, which kind of surprised me because they still didn't have an address yet. 12 for July. August 20, they're still kind of going back up. I remember they have the best bail bond site, so some of this stuff, if their site was left there for 3 years and they kept getting good reviews, they probably end up in the top 5 anyway. But again, nobody wants to pay thousands of dollars and then wait 3 years for the results of their business. Their business might die in that time. So now we come to September when they finally got their address, and immediately Google jumps them up, almost 250% more calls than what they got the month before. You see the people just don't visit the website. You get 68 calls and only 8 people visit your website. That shows how people interact with these searches. So then moving on to October, now Google started adding some extra stats in here. So you see that they're basically telling you that 938 people saw you. So I'm not sure if that's impressions or not, but it probably is them just telling you their straight out impression number. Added a few more things in here. They got a couple of half their calls half all of their asks for directions for the whole year were in this month, and then they got 38 calls. Then we jump back up to 55, and then December closed out with 56. So you see, once we got the citations, it was vital to the specific account. They're now jumping up, and again, we'll probably create another video or two as this progresses forward, but I think that's plenty of rambling for now. If you are watching this on YouTube, go ahead and like and subscribe, or whatever all the YouTubers say, probably smash the likes or something like that. But if you're watching this on this case study page right here, you might as well, again, just go to the free video audit, and I'll just go ahead and tell you what it takes to rank. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and peace.